Football isn't coming home. Ronaldo is, and so are Brazil. And could this be Messi's year? It's the Rose-Tinted Football Podcast. I suppose, will we be honest from the get-go and say we're recording this on Tuesday night so we know how one of the semi-finals has gone? Yeah. Or can I not say anything and then pretend like I'm a genius and get the correct score?
It all depends how you edit this video in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that Argentina are going to beat Croatia 3-0. Alvarez with 2 and Messi with 1, maybe. Yeah, let's go with that. We'll start with the quarterfinals first before we get into the semi-finals, and I suppose a couple of shocks. First of all, Croatia knocking out the favourites on penalties. I think
their only shot on target, was it?
Yeah, their only shot on target. Although I have to say I didn't see that coming when Neymar scored.
No, absolutely not. When I was looking forward to penalties, and then when Neymar scored, I went, oh well, that's that gone.
Yeah, I kind of had that deflated feeling.
Yeah.
I hate games like that. And I'm not saying like it wasn't the worst 0-0 ever, but it wasn't an unbelieving, easy for me to say, an unbelievable game. But you know when you get those 0-0s and then you get to extra time and you're getting close to halftime next time and you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, at least I'll get to see a penalty shootout. And that deflation when somebody scores a goal, that you think you've been robbed of something.
Yeah, because I mean, you've got the goal that you want. You want a goal, but when it's that late, you're like, please don't anybody score. This is going to go to penalties.
That's why I was.
Then I can see loads of goals.
I kind of had that when Croatia equalised. I wouldn't say I went mad or anything like that, but I definitely celebrated more than I would for a normal Croatia goal.
I will correct myself as well, because this World Cup has shown us the opposite. So maybe if you get to a penalty shootout, you actually don't see loads of goals. In other World Cups, you would. In this one, you don't seem to.
Well, Croatia seem to have it down to a fine art at this stage with penalty shootouts. I did appreciate the fact that for their first penalty, a goalkeeper doesn't expect it to be hit straight down the middle. And if you hit your first penalty straight down the middle, he definitely doesn't expect you to hit the second one straight down the
middle. Absolutely. It's like when you're playing FIFA, one of your mates, you have that double bluff.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's like. It was just like, and you could kind of see because Alisson's trailing leg isn't a million miles away, but he has a kind of angry swing at it as if to say, fuck, they've done it again.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked, and I would love to have seen it, and I would have found it hilarious if for the third penalty they smashed it into the top right hand corner and Alisson just stood there. Didn't move, didn't react.
I did see there's one of the football pages that I follow, and they put up a great meme. It was in Friends when Phoebe's trying to teach Joey French. She says one word, he says one word. She says one word, he says, and it goes on like that. And then she says the sentence, and he goes. So it was Phoebe, but then instead of Joey, they just had a Croatia flag. So it was like football, games, last 90 minutes, football games, last 90 minutes, 120 minutes plus penalties. And that went all fine and well up until tonight when Argentina bust the shite out of them.
Yeah, well, I suppose we'll talk about the other side of that semi-final. Another penalty shootout. And holy shit. all hell broke
Lord.
loose in those last couple of minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Goodness, when Messi scored that penalty, I think the world and its mother went, yep, that's Argentina into a semi-final. And then all of a sudden, just Holland decided to remember that. And as we said about Croatia, with their only shot on target, Holland's only 2 shots on target were their 2 goals in the last, well, what should have been the last 10 minutes, but turned out to be the last 20 minutes of the game. It was some ending to a game, but what a routine of a free kick.
For a free kick, yeah. Brilliant. Very, 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 very clever. And ballsy as fuck when you're 2-1 down in the last, whatever it was, to even attempt that. Because
who the fuck does that when they're 2-1 down in the 101st minute of a World Cup quarter-final? Like, even the commentators didn't know what was going on. Yeah. It took them a minute to figure out. They were talking about deflections and all sorts. And that was just fucking genius.
Yeah. And it's a match that had absolutely everything. There was I lost count of the malaise.
Oh, like handbags at dawn.
Yeah. Definitely a bit of crack.
Oh, it was definitely, because it didn't seem, well, to me at least, it didn't seem overly niggly until Holland pulled it back to 2-1. And then the Argentinians got Argentinian. But I love the shithousery of a free kick being given away and blasting the ball at the dugout. And the accuracy. He hit the headrest perfectly nailed on. It was...
fuck them. It's like when Luis Suarez took a dive in front of the Everton bench. It's a big fuck you.
Yeah, it really is. And it started a lovely little scuffle, which I have to say, I think everybody enjoyed, to be fair. But look, Argentina probably overall were the better team. I think the only reason Holland got back into it was because I think the Argentinians thought they had the game wrapped up at 2-0. So
I think it was both. I think it was both because the Argentinians thought they had it wrapped up, which obviously doesn't help you coming into the end of that kind of game. But I also think they shot themselves in the foot by winding the shit out of the Dutch as well. I think they wound the Dutch into the Dutch doing exactly what they did.
Things. Yeah. Although I would say that watching that game, it was exactly like watching United under Van Gaal. It was ponderous, you know. Why do in one pass what you can do in 106? You know, it was only missing the fucking barrage of crosses into the penalty area. That's the only thing it was missing. But yeah, look, I've said it before, Holland, especially after big teams, Holland were my least favourite to watch. I didn't enjoy, bar obviously the last 10, 15 minutes of the Argentina game, I didn't enjoy any of Holland's games. They were just.
I think we both said that before the tournament had started, that we couldn't see them going very, very far. But if they did go far, it wasn't going to be because of free flowing football. It was going to be because they kept the match quiet and boring, and
they just ground teams down more so than beat them. But not to worry, that's them gone. So at least every cloud and silver linings and all that.
It had loads of wars of the words as well.
Fucking Di Maria chirping off and Van Gaal.
Di Maria, Van Gaal having a go at him and
Depay.
And then after the game, you had not Martinez, keeper Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez.
Martinez.
Emiliano.
I knew it wasn't Martinez. Excuse me. Martinez. Did you see his interview after the match? He just went off on one.
He's
just
a shit stirring cunt. I hate him.
He really is a shit.
I hate him with a passion. Like I have backed Argentina from the get-go. I have even put some of my hard-earned cash on them at the start, and I've backed them in every game. But every time I see that smug little bastard, I just want Argentina to get thumped. He literally, Aston Villa fans are the only people who like him.
Yeah. Like the one thing that he said that wasn't shithousery that I completely disagreed with was when he talked, and their first goal, I was slightly unsighted. So you're slightly unsighted. The only thing between you and Weghorst was the ball, and he hit it directly at your hand, and he balls it up.
Yeah.
Like I mean there's no way to look at that goal other than goalkeeping error.
Yeah,
massive goalkeeping error. Like it's not like it was hit. You know sometimes you have a shot that's hit so powerfully it doesn't matter how close or how far away it is from the keeper. He just can't react in time.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't one of them. It was just poor goalkeeping, I thought.
No, and even the reaction of the Argentina players, it had that look of, that shouldn't go in. When when you can see the goal that the goalkeeper should have saved, and you have that, the shoulders slouch, and it's like, oh fuck, like it's it looked like even they realized that, you should have kept that one out, pal. But having said that, maybe he was trying to look at his boots, and the ball was in the way of the boot, and I don't know. I'm trying to think like an arsehole.
Of some sort of excuse.
Yeah.
Did you see the still of when the winning penalty went in, with the Argentina team starting to run away from the halfway line? Oh, they were all giving it socks. Like, instead of you're after getting into the World Cup semi-final at this stage. Just go and celebrate. Just go and celebrate. There was about 6 of them that were like in the face of the Dutch players.
Yeah.
Like, but
that was
in fairness, I've been there where if you've had a particularly hard match, and if someone's been kicking you a whole match or whatever, that your usual shake hands at the end of the match. There's certain players that I will never not shake someone's hand, but I will absolutely, if someone's been a bit of a fucker throughout the match, I will avoid that shake hand as best I can. I'll make sure to avoid the person as best I can.
Yeah.
But like getting up in someone's face and giving it loads, I just can't condone it. It's just not a nice
No,
thing.
you can't really. You can't really condone it. Especially, you should be more preoccupied with the fact that you're just after getting into a World Cup semi-final than,
I think Owen Mendy was the main one, wasn't he? He was the front runner in it.
Yeah, you seen him at City. He was a massive fucking shit stirrer back then. So I don't think much has changed in the few years since he left. But moving on to the other side of the draw, we had another shock. Morocco 1-0 Portugal. I'd like to say nobody saw that coming, but it was on the cards. Portugal team not particularly playing too well against a Moroccan team who just look like they can really, dig in and not let teams play. And that's what it was. It was basically, it was a bank of 4, a bank of 5. One guy, I can't even say standing on the halfway line. He was kind of on the edge of the centre circle in their half. And they just refused to let Portugal play through.
I mean, the shock of the round was the Brazil match. I think we both said that before the Portugal match, we both expected Portugal to go through. I think we said in the last podcast, but also with the way Morocco were playing, we both wouldn't have been surprised if Morocco did go through. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Portugal just weren't good enough on the day. Paddy Power had a great one up. It was Bruno Fernandes, like one of those big crying faces. It was like Bruno Fernandes. Anytime any Morocco player breathes near him, I mean, my God, he goes to ground for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's something that I think I've mentioned it before.
He goes to ground easier than Saka and Harry Kane. And it only gets talked about because he's not English.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of expected of Johnny Foreigner. But look, it was a really dull Portuguese performance. Like that 6-1 just seems like, the more and more you see Portugal, that 6-1 against Switzerland just seems like a fluke. Just seems like one of those games where, everything you hit goes in. Like
that's two of the biggest results that we had in the World Cup this year, the Spanish one and that one. And both of them seem to have been something just to give you the wrong idea of what that team was going to do.
Yeah. It really, in my opinion, we maybe are looking at Portugal and Spain kind of as they were maybe, well, in Portugal's case, 4 or 5 years ago, and in Spain's case, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. That, these are, top quality teams. But like, if you look what's in that Portuguese team, like, who would you say is top quality? Probably Bernardo Silva and Bruno, and like outside of that, Ronaldo obviously used to be, but isn't anymore. But like the rest of that team, like I look at the rest of that Portugal team, there's nobody there who would strike fear into me. Maybe Jota if he hadn't got injured, like if he was available.
Could have given them a slightly different aspect.
Yeah, but like at the same time, he's not a player you massively worry about. I mean, even with the Spanish team's slightly different because they've got a lot of young players who have the potential to be world class. But at the moment, they're not world class because, they're only 19 or 20. But like the Moroccans have just proved that, it has been another thing, I think, in this World Cup that, the standard of the European teams outside of France haven't been great. Probably England as well, maybe you would say. The standard of the other European teams haven't been great. Germany were desperate. Spain weren't great. Portugal weren't great. Holland weren't great to watch, although they ground out results. But like every other European team, Italy didn't even make it. Like the standard, I think, in European sides has kind of fallen. And your typical ones, obviously Croatia. Your big ones,
what they were doing up to this point is
well, I think you're seeing the dying embers of what was a quality Croatian team.
And I don't think anybody expected Croatia to get this far with the team that they had. I think the World Cup final, that was them getting as far as you thought they could. And when they didn't win it, you're like, that was your chance.
Yeah, that should have been what you would think would have been the last kind of hurrah for them. But look, the gap between European teams and South American teams, the gap between the traditional big teams and everybody else, it doesn't look as big as it used to be. And I don't think that's because, Asian and African teams have gotten so much better. I think that, the quality of the international side in South America and Europe has diminished quite a bit. So I think this, although I think going back to where will be Canada, America, and Mexico in the next one, I think this is probably the best chance for non-European South American team to win a World Cup. Because as well as it being back into a kind of traditional area, well, not traditional area of the world, but, you know, a place that has hosted World Cups in the past, and also been back into the summer months instead of in the middle of the European season. I think the next World Cup we go back to the status quo is back and affirmed. So I think it is, because that's what you're seeing with Morocco at the moment. You know, they're just taking their chance.
Absolutely, and you're bang on there. It probably is the best chance for them. Obviously, getting this far is they're giving themselves the best chance they can in anyway. But with this type of World Cup, with the fact that the African nations, their cup is on at the same time of the year when it is on. So this kind of thing at this time of the year is exactly what the African teams would be primed for. And I think we both said it at the start, and it was the general consensus that this year a lot of people thought the African teams would do a lot more and would get a lot further. Now, with Morocco having gotten further than any African team ever has, obviously they have got further, but I think the general consensus was that a few teams would do well. Not a few teams would necessarily get this far, but a few teams would get, you know, cause a couple of upsets, maybe top a group here and there, and you know they'd be more there than they were. They really weren't, unfortunately. But yeah, part of me, I'm in between two, because I would love to see the likes of Morocco, because everybody loves to go for the underdog. You know, everybody loves to go to see, you know, Greece winning the Euros back in 2000, when they beat Portugal. But on the other side of it, as I said from the start, I just can't look past Messi winning it. I just think he deserves, for the type of player that he is, for it to be one of very few things. Like what? The Europa League is the only other thing that he hasn't got in his locker at the moment.
Yeah.
Stuff that he hasn't gone down low enough to be able to win just yet.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's it. Like it's like he's definitely in at minimum. He's definitely in that conversation of, you know, the GOAT. But I'm kind of the same. I'd like to see him win. Just because he has been such an influential and such a quality player for the last 15 years. Yeah. So, having said that, you probably would put your money now on France to win the whole thing, because you don't always get what you want in football, or what you deserve.
And listen, if he bowed out without it, it's not going to change my mind at all. I just think for him, like in his own country, and I think with Argentina, he's not really given the same kind of respect that he should be. Like he could have played for Spain, he didn't. He wanted to play for Argentina. I mean, what he'd be if he played with Spain, he would have been 2-time European and 1-time World Cup winning.
Probably would have been more, to be fair, because if you think of the Argentinian team that he had around that time, like he wasn't in that good of a setup, like especially when you think, like in 2010 it was fucking Diego Maradona and his coked up head that was trying to lead them to a World Cup.
I always felt that the difference between Messi and Ronaldo on the international stage is Portugal knew what they had. Portugal knew, this is our guy. He's the guy that's going to win.
Yeah.
Where Messi was at the time on the exact same level, but I don't think the Argentinian players thought the same. I always felt that the Argentinian players thought, oh, he's great. Don't get me wrong, he's great.
I'm just as good as him.
But I can do this too. Yeah. I can be the winner, or I can be the man who does the job.
Yeah.
Whereas I think now they've bought in a wee bit more to Messi. I think the last World Cup they did as well. And obviously, you know, sometimes you need your luck with you as well.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely their chance.
Oh, no, definitely is. And I suppose we'll cover the last quarter final and the most likely of opponents. France beating England 2-1. Having enjoyed 90 minutes of Ireland not hating them for a change. Like England gave a good account of themselves, and at times were the better team, but France showed that nous, that all top teams have, that when you're not playing well, you ride it out. Now, it does help that, Harry Kane suddenly decided he was Johnny Wilkinson and went for the conversion instead of the goal.
Did you see the video? The old video that cropped up?
From years ago.
Years ago.
I was like, that is just...
Like, I told him that it'd come back to bite him.
Did you see as well? You might have liked this. I seen a picture of one of the Liverpool fan pages on Twitter or something like that. I just seen it. It's from... I don't know when it was from. It was from a few years ago, from a Tottenham game at Anfield. And was there a game where he missed a penalty and then scored a penalty or something like that? And
possibly could have put one wide.
Yeah, and then scored one or something like that.
Yes, there was. I think the game finished 2-2. I think he missed a penalty, and then they got another controversial penalty. The linesman gave it, and there was a lot of controversy over giving the penalty in the first place.
Yeah.
The second one away. I think it finished 2-2.
Yeah. Well,
that was the one. Salah scored a flipping amazing goal in the 89th or 90th minute. Salah scored a goal that he was surrounded by men. He somehow managed to get the shot off and scored, and that was it. We thought we had it won, and then they were given a controversial penalty. Raging. Anyway, sorry, this isn't our Liverpool.
Okay, leave that till next week. The fucking Premier League and all that is back next week.
I know, you brought back some memories.
Yeah, okay. This lie down on the couch and tell me all about it. So after the game had finished and he was walking off, the way the cameras always go onto the pitch to follow the players coming off and stuff like that. Well, he said into the camera, "You don't give me two chances." And it was just like, I love him, especially him, because he's such a hateful prick. I can't stand Harry Kane. He's just a hateful fucking cunt. And again, the English media love him because, he's brave Harry Kane and blah. But never mention, his backing into defenders while they're jumping in the air, potentially causing them serious injury. And going down
himself
to get a free kick.
Exactly.
That drives me up the wall. Oh,
do you know what really drives me up the wall? Is they go on about their captain fantastic and he's the best captain. He's captain this, captain that, captain whatever. God. Yet every single person in the squad talks about Jordan Henderson and what Jordan Henderson does because he was the captain. It was taken off him to give it to someone else. And at the time, I don't think there was any major surprise. I don't even think it went straight from Henderson to him. I think it went from Henderson to someone else and then went to Harry Kane.
I don't see him as a leader. Like, Kane. I would give him the benefit that, he does. He's a great goal scorer and he does come up with goals when you need it.
He's not a team
But he's
player.
not a leader. He's not a leader. Like, I'm just looking at the 11 players who started against France. Obviously, you've mentioned Henderson, club captain at Liverpool.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. But I'm looking at even the likes of Declan Rice. He's more of a captain figure in my eyes in how he plays and how he kind of orchestrates everybody around him. Like, he's more of captain than fucking Kane. Like, Kane, I don't think... Like, if you're looking for something, like, part of being a captain is your motivation. I can't see where he's motivating anybody. Like, he doesn't seem to be that captain like a Henderson or a Keane or someone like that who's fucking shouting at lads and fucking roaring them on, and
he raises. Henderson, like Keane, I think, is very good at raising someone's level. Someone who's around him. He's good at raising their level a wee bit, and so technically, he's not the most gifted footballer or the best one on the pitch, or you're one guy who's going to do this magic moment. But if you have someone who raises up people around them, if those people are the technically gifted ones, that's exactly what you want.
I think with Henderson, it's more like the Homer Simpson thing. People say they have to work twice as hard when I'm around.
How dare
But yeah, you know what I mean. Like these are like born leaders. Even fucking slab heads I've seen, be more of a leader at times than Kane.
I was just thinking about it. I think Slabhead is where the captaincy went. I think that it was taken off Henderson and given to Slabhead, and then I think it went from Slabhead to Kane.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I think that's.
But like he's definitely not. He reminds me of Shearer. I never thought Shearer was a great captain, a great goal scorer, and the only man in the Newcastle team. But like, I didn't think he was a great captain. You never seen him, rousing the troops or anything like that, or like not even like there's two sides of kind of leadership in a captain's role. You can be that rousing figure that we just mentioned, or you can be that figure who's the arm around a player and giving them motivation, trying to build them up in a more kind of subdued manner, shall we say. But Kane doesn't seem to be any of that.
Yeah, I think with the likes of Shearer and the likes of Kane, I think what they try to make it out as is they're a winner, they'll score the goals, they'll lead by example. And on a personal level, I've always thought that is the worst type of captain that I've ever seen and played under. So, and on my own shit level of football, when you had the someone up front who was just a good goal scorer, they were a good goal scorer because they were selfish as fuck. Absolutely. And to the point where, there's a simple pass on for a potential goal that can win the game, whether it was to me or to someone else. But no, they want to do it all themselves. I always found that type of player takes it away from winning as a team, and it's more about all me.
Yeah, of course. And look, it's the same as Ronaldo when Ronaldo has a captaincy for either Portugal or before this at United.
But I will say, for Portugal, there's a lot of instances where I know he could be a big sulky, moany bastard, but there's also a lot of instances where Portugal haven't been doing well enough, and yet you do see Ronaldo kind of getting on people's backs and getting them up and arms in the air. Come on, let's go. At very least, that is something. Whereas I don't think I've ever seen.
Oh, it's definitely more than it's definitely more than somebody like Kane, definitely.
Yeah, but by bringing up Ronaldo, you're not a million miles off. Yeah, you're same kind of thing.
But look, that's football not coming home again. Like we all told them that it wasn't. But sure, will they ever listen? Will they fuck?
Couple of good goals in that match. France.
Just going to say, Tuchemani's was a thunder bastard of a goal.
Yeah, the referee had a poor day. In fairness, I know the English bang on about it till the cows come home. He did have a poor match,
but I didn't think that bad. I didn't think bad enough to warrant all the shite that's coming from English media at the moment.
I think most of the big decisions went the right way. I think the Saka foul before the Tchouaméni goal is debatable. But they were giving out about VAR. Absolutely not. In a month of Sundays are VAR ever going to take it back that far.
No.
Ever.
Sure, there was about 3 or 4 phases of play between.
Yeah, there was about 30 odd seconds in between them. Absolute madness. And yes, the goalkeeper didn't give the second penalty, which absolute fucking stonewall. But then that is what VAR is there for, that if the referee does make that kind of mistake, and they did, what the hell was Theo Hernandez thinking? Like,
oh my dear Lord, like that.
He'll be thanking his lucky stars when that went over the bar.
Yeah, because like that ball is going. That's one thing. One thing that did annoy me about the English, though, about the English players, was especially Jude Bellingham. I soured on him immensely during this game. He's a fantastic footballer, looks fantastically gifted, but he is a moany, whingy little fuck. Every 5 seconds, he had the hand up with the card, for everybody. And he was trying to get the referee to send Hernandez off. But as the referee said, it wasn't a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
No, definitely.
Because that ball probably, if Hernandez, that's probably the most infuriating thing about him giving away the penalty is if he doesn't do it, the ball still goes straight into Lloris's arms. So, therefore, obviously, you can't give the red, but the yellow card was right. But Bellingham was in the referee's face for ages. I'm surprised he didn't get a yellow card for the amount of protesting he did.
Actually, you're 100% on that. I'm actually very surprised that there was 1 or 2 English players that didn't get a yellow card for the protests. With the type of referee that it was, I was very, very surprised. They're lucky that it wasn't the referee from the Dutch match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right ref? Yeah, the Argentina.
Yeah. With yeah, but like I really soured on Bellingham. It's just it's so frustrating to see. He whinged, he bitched, he moaned. Any tackle, no matter how good or bad it was, he was whinging at the ref and stuff like that. And I'm watching it going, this guy is pissing me off here, and he probably will end up going to Liverpool because it'll be a prime place for him to bitch and moan and whinge and fucking.
Why? Because it's close to Bruno Fernandes down in Manchester.
No, then he joined City. Why would you join Liverpool if you want to be close to Bruno? Why would you join Liverpool over City? Number one, you've the chance to win. You have a chance to win trophies at City. To who you have more money. Like, why would you go to Liverpool?
You say that like Liverpool haven't been winning trophies.
Well, you should have won more.
You're not wrong. Yeah, so we're not really sorry to see the English go home, and nothing to do with Ireland and England. I'm not sure about you, but for me, but more so for just, I've said it since the start. I cannot stand the fact that they played the type of football they do with the players that they have at their disposal. I just think it's such a fucking waste. Like, I think if they had brought it to a couple of teams, I think what they did to Iran wouldn't have been a fluke if they played to their potential. I think they could have rolled a couple of teams.
If you look at the team that started, you have a front three of Saka, Kane and Foden. Your midfield is Henderson, Rice and Bellingham. So that is just ideal for Henderson, sit in front of the back four, mop up everything there. And then you've got two midfielders who have fucking engines that will run for days either side of them. And that's not to mention the two fullbacks, which are Walker and Shaw, who are very attack-minded fullbacks. And they're playing this dour fucking risk-free fucking negative shite of football. And even if you look on the bench, like, well, okay, Jack Grealish, I wouldn't bother about him, but like, you know, the likes of Sterling and Rashford and Mount, you know, like they have good players there and they have good attacking players.
Yeah. I think the main problem they have is that outside of Kane, they don't really have free-flowing goals coming from anywhere. Foden can score. He's not free-flowing. Saka
No.
can't score. He's not free flowing. You know, Sterling can cause loads of problems. Most of the time can't hit the broadside of a barn. Rashford, this last 2 or 3 years has been poor, but did do very, very well when he came on. So I probably would have given him more of a shout.
Well, here's another one as well, is that, like, you know, like his in-game management is very poor as well. Because, you know, like, I'm just looking here, like, Rashford got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Sterling got 11. Grealish got 1 minute. A minute. Like, he doesn't know. Even Mount 11 minutes as well. Like he's. You want to be bringing them on 10 minutes earlier, you know.
And because I think, especially with Saka seemed he had run himself into the ground a good 10 minutes before he did get taken off. So you're right. In-game management, you know, you should be looking at Saka going, right, as much as you want to keep someone like that on the pitch because he's been shown so far that he's been doing very well. By the same token, he's not a Steven Gerrard. He's not a Harry Kane. He's not a player that, even if they're off the boil, he's strong enough to come up with a moment of magic, even when he's fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's someone who very much relies on being fully fit, being able to run full tilt, full pace at anybody and everybody. So as soon as that's gone out of him, hook, get him the hell out of there.
But like it's all well and good having a player like that, and you're not willing to take him off because you know what he can offer you. But when you have the players that I just mentioned on the bench, you're making a huge mistake. You know, like if you're looking out there and you're like, Saka, yeah, he's a great player. He can fucking make anything happen out of nothing. But he's absolutely bollocksed. But I've got Rashford here, or I've got Grealish here, or I've got Mount here. You know, it's not like you don't have the players that can come in and adequately fill that position. Because definitely, like a rested Rashford, say, coming off the bench is probably better than an absolutely worn out fucking Saka. You know, like look, we said it at the start of the tournament. The one thing that can hold England back from winning this is their manager. And I might be being a little bit harsh when I say it, but I think in the end they were. I think with a more positive manager, they could have got the right result, because at the end of the day, it was a really close game between two very good teams. And maybe a more positive manager might have swung that in the other direction.
Yeah, I think they've been burned by having such great individual players in their teams in the past and not having any manager who could make them play together.
Having all these great players and having won nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And Southgate at the moment is making them at least play well enough as a team that they're getting to the latter stages of tournaments, which they hadn't really been. So they're looking at it going, oh, well, it's a step in the right direction, but you know, maybe just the right manager that can make those players play well together is what you should be looking for, rather than someone who makes them play to just get somewhere. I don't know. It's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. If they won something, you can turn around and say, there you go, there's the end product. There's not an end product. England have, in the last 3 tournaments, as soon as they've come up against anybody half decent, they've been put out of the tournament. So it's not even as if they've played well enough to put out a couple of good teams. Yeah,
but that's kind of what I was going to say. Like, you know, if you look at it on paper, like, that French team was there for the taking in terms of, look at the players who are missing. You know, the current Ballon d'Or winner was injured. one of the best midfielders of the last decade in Kante was out injured. Paul Pogba, who, look, you can say positives and negatives about him, but when he plays for France, he is generally excellent.
Yeah.
Like, they were missing an awful lot of first team players. France were there for the taking, and England couldn't take them. And this has been, and I think we said this last week, this has been England in a nutshell, you know, against the middle to smaller nations. Sweep them aside, hammer them, not a problem. But when they meet anybody in the top 10, maybe 15, but definitely top 10 in the world, they never get it done. Never, ever get it done.
Struggle.
Yeah. And I don't see that changing until you have a new manager in there. But look, again, you have that question, and that's going to be the sticky question for the FA is, who's out there available?
Yeah.
To come in, and
who wants to come in?
Yeah, that's a very very short list.
Yeah.
But before we go, we'll have a quick mention on Argentina are into the final, as we might have mentioned earlier on, but let's pretend that they're not. 3-0 against Croatia. As most Argentinian commentators would say, Messi. He was fantastic this evening. Absolutely fantastic. His run for the third goal, to set up the third goal, was just that's Messi of 10 years ago.
Yeah. The match before tonight's match, his average match rating had gone up in every single match except for one. I think one took a dip from like 7.2 to 7, but in all other accounts, his matches have just been getting better and better as the tournament went on. I don't see tonight's match changing that at all. I guarantee he'll have a better stat than he did in the previous match. He ran the show.
Yeah, he was Messi of old, and having properly seen Alvarez, he looks like he could be. The City have got a very, very, very interesting prospect on their hands with him.
Did he have someone who they are going to waste the twilight years that he has?
Have another Jesus?
They won't play him. No. They won't. It's an absolute waste of a move. That's another one. You've said it in the past. That's another one where City have bought him,
so that somebody else
can't have him. That's the one. And I'm not bitter. Liverpool weren't in for him. I don't think. I've never heard of him before he went to City, but he's too talented to be sitting on the bench at City and not getting any.
My only thinking is behind it is all this talk about Haaland only staying for a couple of years, that he wants to be, he wants to be the best player at a number of clubs. So he wants to do the whole, I want to go to Real Madrid, I want to go to PSG, he's not going to be a one club man. He wants to, spend a couple of years at each club and fucking score ridiculous amount of goals for each one of them. If that is true, then this is a good signing for them, because if you only have Haaland for the next 2 or 3 years and then he fucks off to Madrid or wherever, you have somebody ready to come in. And that'll be somebody who's been kind of in the setup for 2 or 3 years at that stage.
Study.
If not, if Haaland's there for another 5 or 6, it's an absolute waste. But if it's only for a couple of seasons, it might be a bit of shrewd business to have him in and settled now, But I suppose with Argentina in there, in the final, like as we said earlier, really hope for Messi that this could be his year. Although they will have a a really, really stiff competition from, well, look, it's going to be fucking France. I'm sorry if we have any Moroccan fans or listeners or whatever. I highly, highly fucking doubt it. But if there is somebody in Casablanca or somewhere like that, is that Morocco? Casablanca's Morocco, isn't it? Oh, I'm testing geography now.
I'm the last person that you should ever test geography on. Last one in the world. Casablanca's a movie, Simon. Don't be so stupid.
Yeah, it was a movie. Well done. I was going to know. I'm getting my 30s movies mixed up here. I was about to say, quite frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, but I'm pretty sure that's Gone with the Wind. Could be Casablanca. I don't know. They were in black and white, so I can't tell the difference. Not that that's a racist thing. That's not a racist thing. Don't.
I don't think you're going to be racist when you say black and white. I don't think you can. Well, you could if you used some other words in there, but don't do that. You'll get us cancelled. It's hard to see past France getting past Morocco, but it's one of those that if Morocco win, it's a 1-0 win. If France win, it's probably going to be 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think if France score the first goal, I can't see how Morocco handle them while still trying to get an equaliser. Like, their only hope is, let's keep it to 0-0, try and nick one if we can. If not, let's take them to penalties.
Yeah. And in fairness, if anybody can keep France quiet, Morocco have been fantastic defensively. Defensively up to now. So I would if they are to bow out, I hope they bow out with a respectful, 1-0 loss, and they've played very well in the match. I'd hate to see them go out because they got hammered, because I don't think they deserve that.
No, I definitely don't think. But it's going to be it's going to be tough for them. Like, no matter what way you look at it, it's going to be tough for them. And like, I suppose they have to be like Homer and vision how they're going to win. And with an announcer saying, with 11 heart attacks, the French team have forfeited this game.
The greatest 2 words in the English language. Default. So yeah, then after tomorrow, whatever result that is, whoever gets into the final, the other team will meet Croatia on Saturday in the 3rd and 4th place playoff. For the love of everybody, for the love of God, I hope it isn't Morocco, because that's 120 minutes of penalties right there.
Oh, massively, and in a game that has so much prestige associated with it, that RTE used to allow the après match guys to present the entire show.
That's right.
Which I hope to God they do it again, because that's one thing I've missed from this World Cup is après match.
It was
always give a giggle after every game.
Oh, Michael Malaco. What was that? The rap battle, wasn't it?
That was the rap battle with Ronaldinho and Michael Ballack. Oh, he did them. Oh, Margaret, how are you?
If you don't know what the hell we're talking
about a 16-year-old sketch.
Please Google it. It's a laugh.
Oh, it is. And go watch their other stuff. Their other stuff is wonderful as well. But yeah, and then next week, by the time we're recording again, which will either be next Monday or Tuesday, who knows, we have a very watertight schedule here. we will be discussing Said's third and fourth playoff, along with the final itself. And then we will look forward to the return of football. More football.
The League Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
It is indeed.
Next Tuesday night.
Yes, with United playing Burnley. And then, of course, City and Liverpool. That's a nice way to get you back into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of on the plus side that most of your players went out, are already out by now.
Yeah, exactly. Jurgen Klopp will be playing centre half, and Guardiola be centre midfield.
Oh, I would love that. I would love to see that. And then I would love to see them, Guardiola making a break for midfield and then Klopp breaking him.
Absolutely breaking him in two. That'd be a new way of watching football, wouldn't it? If you had to have, do you ever hear there's a comedian, he was always talking about letting normal people. He said you should, in every Olympic event, you should always have a normal person doing it as well, just for reference. I was like, you should have football teams with that as well, like one or two duds. Like when you're playing your own 5-side games, there's always like a dud on one team or a pair of duds.
Yeah.
Every football team, every so often, you should have a signature game where, like, right, you both have to play at least two people who don't play professional football, and just let's have a bit of crack with it. In the League Cup or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think you should have that. I think it definitely should be some sort of prerequisite for games. But but that's the Premier League coming back already. Jeez, where has the last 3 weeks gone? I tell you what, that was a quick World Cup. That's one thing I don't like about World Cups. Just as you're getting used to, your 4 games a day and, it's football wall to wall, suddenly it's the semi-finals and you're like, it's over at the weekend. And then you're back to I suppose at least this time we don't have to wait another month before the football comes back. Like normally you're waiting 6 weeks before the Premier League comes back after a World Cup.
Yeah.
You're not even waiting 6 days for English football to come back. So expect many, many injuries and a lot of players to get sent off before St. Stephen's Day. That always happens. On the run up to Christmas, players start getting silly yellow cards in the build up to it, just to time it right so you can have that Christmas New Year period off. But yeah, we'll be back on Monday. We will talk all about it. We will review the World Cup, preview the Carabao Cup, which, because United are still in it, in my opinion, is the bigger competition. And we'll also have a look at the league coming back, because actually the following Monday is going to be St. Stephen's Day. So, happy Christmas, everybody. A solemn Ramadan, and I can't remember the other one Krusty said. A crazy Kwanzaa. That's what it was. So, we will talk to you all then. Bye-bye.